Hello, and welcome back to the Dad and Sons podcast. I'm your host, Matt Visual, here to give you the Twitter blast. I'm here alone in the studio today. Liam and George couldn't make it. That's okay. We're going to have a good time, guys. Settle down, grab your Cracker Jacks. Midway you might reach a prize.
Cracker Jacks.
Hey,
guys.
You're not supposed to be.
I've just come from the future.
Really? Just to invade my single podcast.
Should I be offended? Like, is that a slur?
Hey, what is a slur?
Cracker
Jack?
No, Cracker Jacks is a snack. You never had
Always
sure it
racism
is.
with you, isn't it? Weird,
Oh
man.
my god! You never had
Yeah,
Cracker
that's
Jacks? It's
totally
like
what you
caramel
meant. I'm
popcorn.
sure.
Hold on, Cracker Jack.
Can you imagine if they're not called Cracker Jacks and Matt's just got them confused with
No,
something else?
I know what a Cracker Jack is. Cracker Jack.
I bet you do. You're talking about those Georgia cops, aren't you?
It might be racist, to be honest. There is a white guy. It's a white sailor guy on the cover. Cracker Jack. It's like caramel popcorn with like little peanuts inside, and you get like a
Ooh.
prize out of the original boxes.
That sounds nice.
Yeah,
It was such an innocent term
Cracker
before you had to go there with it.
I think you went there.
Yeah, I think you went. You made me think about where the name came from, because that happens a lot, doesn't it? There's Cracker Jack hot dogs back in the day. Put that little bit of caramel popcorn with some peanuts on a big long hot dog. Yeah.
Matt, have you ever eaten a Cracker Jack in the toilet?
No.
Good. You don't want the poo particles on your Cracker Jack hot dog.
Yeah, but I know some people who have played some games on the toilet in our Twitter segment. Do we have jingle? Do we have a jingle for it?
We do not.
We should. We should be developing
yeah.
one. R&D.
Yeah,
We could get a new one.
Is it here to stay? It might be here to stay.
I like it.
I'm here
I
to
like.
stay.
We could use this as see if it's gonna be here to stay, if it's good or not. All right. So roll retro.
We just have a remix of George saying poo particles for Twitter.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Poop. Say poop particles, George.
Twitter poop.
Roll retro says toilet kids. Now, I was like, nah, there's not a game called Toilet Kids. There is. There's a game called Toilet Kids. And I'm watching like the intro, and you see this kid come in. He takes off his pants. You see his wee and all. Okay?
Toilet
It's an older
kids.
game, so it's just pixels. So it's okay back then, It's just like a little triangle. A little upside down triangle.
It reminds me of the time when I went on holiday to France when I was like 10, and I found a Dragon Ball manga in a French bookshop, and I opened it, and there Goku was with his little piddle out. And I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I need to put this back.
Yeah, you don't have to
Shit.
censor the genitals if they're kids for some reason.
Wow.
Manga. Yeah. I don't
Wow,
know.
that's weird.
His little piddle was right there, and I was like, uh-oh.
Piddle. Never heard that one, though.
It,
Also, I'm sure we all remember that scene in the Simpsons movie
Do we?
I can't remember.
where Bart is skateboarding and there's a visual gag involving everything getting censored out except, what did the kids say these days? The pee-pee?
The PP.
Yeah, you notice that? Kids these days call it just pee. It's like we truly have regressed, guys.
Kids
we truly.
call it I don't know where.
No,
where
George
do
is
you
gonna go on a
live?
tirade.
On what plane of existence?
I've
do you
been
live on?
having to moderate YouTube comments is where this is coming from for this week in particular. Oh, media literacy, that brings out the worst of them.
They're all
I've had
telling
a
you
tab
you're a massive
open
pee-pee head.
Yep. And many more. Anyways, what's next? What's next?
No, like I gotta mention, like everyone throws poop. It's a shoot 'em up, and everyone throws poop, and you
In
have to
Japan,
shoot
they
the
don't
golden
have a
poops.
problem with poop at all. Like, for them, it's just funny.
It's funny, yeah.
There's nothing
It looks-
gross about it. It's weird.
I mean, they're not wrong. Everyone poops, and it is funny.
And all the enemies are like have their butts out.
Oh, and I see this toilet enemy that opens up the seat and then fires a projectile and then closes it.
Like these spiders have asses, That's where like the web is coming out as they go down, but they're shooting the poop out of their mouth, I think. So it's weird. It's weird. I just thought I would give that little detail there. Next, we have the Binding of Isaac from a few people. Binding of Isaac. Have you guys played
Apparently, it's popular. It's a popular choice.
I did not.
Sounds like a pretty good toilet game. Like play until you die.
If you die a lot.
See, that's the thing about Binding of Isaac. Games like Binding of Isaac and Stardew Valley, I've noticed, do a lot better in a portable environment than if I'm like sitting down on a desktop with it. I could easily imagine me actually liking Binding of Isaac more on the toilet than in other situations.
Vita Renders made a D&D character that is poop themed. He squirts poop at people to heal them.
God.
Wait, that's not poop.
He is Pepsi
God.
Man.
That's pop, not poop.
Okay, that's cool, I guess.
we got a regular pick, Fire Emblem Heroes by Tyler. Okay.
Is anybody still playing that? Really?
Hey! All the Fire Emblems are pretty good. I haven't played any of the new ones. I should.
Dude, I'm so hyped for next week when 3 Houses coming out. I'm just talking about Fire Emblem Heroes. It's the mobile one, man. I'm just surprised people are still playing that. Yeah. Don't you besmirch my love for Fire Emblem.
About like a year and a half ago when I was playing through Fire Emblem Echoes on the 3DS, I do think there might have been a day or two where I was on the toilet.
Poo particles.
Oh, God. I used to be such a stickler for the poo particles, and then the Nintendo Switch had to come along and challenge my beliefs.
What else we got, Matt?
A lot of people said Twitter.
Yeah.
A lot of people say Twitter, which is just regular strolling. Yeah, that doesn't count.
I agree 100%. Best game in the world for the toilet is Twitter.
It is. I mean, some people hate Twitter, but my God,
so.
I mean, you find some really amazing memes on Twitter. I've grown to really love it. To be honest,
I'm having a blast with these Area 51 memes.
Oh my God,
man! I can't wait to see what'll happen on September
20th.
Some crazy people are gonna do it, and they're gonna get shot.
And I actually read last night that Little Nas X might be actually planning a tour to Area 51 and then some of the border ice camps in the next few days afterwards. And honestly, that's like the best case scenario in my mind. Like, turn it into a festival that has a like element of fundraising or social activism behind it. It could go to a good place, I think, if
he seems like pretty
handled
good
well
kid,
enough.
Is this Nas
Hell yeah,
X
that guy's awesome.
Yeah,
he really doesn't care. I love it. All right, so we have Red Dead Redemption on the PS Vita. How's that even possible?
remote play, I'm guessing, maybe.
Red Dead.
How long are your dumps?
Yo.
Oh wait, that's right. People don't have bidets.
Yeah.
Pooping used to take me a lot longer than it does now.
Washlet bidets.
You're getting old, George.
The greatest.
When you have gray hairs on your ass, you know everything tends to take a little bit longer.
It's all downhill from there.
The game of not trying to get too distracted by my phone on the toilet breaks.
You don't want those poo particles on your phone.
Yeah. I don't play games on the toilet. I'm worried about poop particles, Andre. Of course.
He's lying for sure.
I got the flu a few months ago, and I spent most of the day playing Shovel Knight on the toilet. Why does that work? Why does Shovel Knight work on the toilet? It does. It does. Yeah. Ooh, Shovel Knight's seems like a janitor.
I remember the revelation for me when the Wii U came out, and I could play Shovel Knight on the toilet with the Wii U. I remember that being quite a revelation at the time.
Little did you know what surprises the future would have in store.
I know, right?
It was the beginning of a new era.
Then I could rebuy Shovel Knight and play it on the toilet with a different console.
And that was chilly. We have Akai with Tetris 99. He won a few times on as well.
I'm right there with him. My God. That was me for a while. For
yes,
sure.
Me too. He knows what we've been doing with our time.
He knows the truth.
You ever won when, you know, you're in midway through a push?
Oh, God. I'm gonna, like... If the police show up, it's your guys' fault. If I feel like we're breaking some kind of law with this one.
Yo,
I don't know. This just doesn't feel right.
Man. That's the real questions.
We're just bringing everybody to the same
Me interviewing
level.
A celebrity would be nuts.
We want our dads and our sons and our mothers and our daughters to have a common ground with each other. To truly understand that everybody poops.
Julesy says Skyrim.
Switch Skyrim, maybe, I guess.
Jesus. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Skyrim. I don't get it. I played it, beat it, and that was it for me. Maybe I should play it again with some mods, and maybe the magic will come back.
And maybe with the Alexa version, you can keep your hands free for your hygiene duties at the time. So maybe that's what they're getting at.
Silent Hill 1 on my Vita from Jack helps with the loosening.
No, God damn it, Jack. I still have this footage of toilet kids on the PC engine playing in the background during all of this, and it's making it worse.
Oh my god. I have to play that.
Wait, that Indian elephant god just showed up and is stomping around and is like the boss of level 2 or something?
Oh my god. That sounds cool, I guess.
Who's Ganesha, the elephant one. You guys have seen little statues, I'm sure. But there he is in Toilet Kid shooting poop out at the spaceship. Okay.
Japan it says, come on, Tetris is the ultimate poop game. Every time a straight line falls is a great.
Come on. Subconsciously, you're playing Tetris with your own ass. A lot of people are saying Downwell, which I also agree with. Downwell is like one of the only games I still have on my iPhone that I open now and again while realizing I might be here for a while.
Is it because you are sending waste down a well of sorts?
I'm just gonna let that one sit for a second.
so that you can get a little comfortable with the adjustments you're making there. Oh my god, this game keeps getting worse. Matt, why did you do this?
You're making it worse.
It's a good question. I mean,
you're right. I could have stopped the video, but I'm still here watching Toilet Kids on the PC engine. It's a train wreck. I can't look away. It's morbid curiosity at this point, to be honest. Little crabs with little butts are shooting out little crab poop at our hero here, and yeah, it's like an underwater level, which makes it even worse.
A couple people said Breath of the Wild, which is weird. I would say, because, just the breaking of the weapons, I guess you can make it short, Sorry, I'm just going to clown on Breath of the Wild because I hate that mechanic. And we had a Twitter battle like a week ago.
I am looking forward to that sequel, though. I mean,
yeah, I am.
That game got super popular for a reason, and I feel like there's only a couple things they needed to change for the rest of us to latch onto it, too.
Here's with a regular one. When you don't have your phone, you may have left it in the room. Shampoo ingredients by Sir Rick the Nick.
Okay. You could, make a game out of that.
You're out of reading materials. You're just so bored that you need to pass the time.
Make a game out of picking which brand of shampoo has the least amount of warnings on it.
Yeah, I don't have magazines. I've never had magazines.
Never? Even back when magazines were
a thing? A thing when you go into someone's bathroom and you see magazines and you're like, oh.
Yeah, Grandma always had the Reader's Digest in the bathroom.
I actually made an effort in my last apartment, not the one I'm currently living in, but my previous apartment that I moved out of at the start of this year. I actually had video game art books.
Ooh.
In there that I would
that
I sort of was building a small collection of that I would find at Book Off and Hard Off cheap Like, I found like a Yoshitaka Amano book with like all of his Final Fantasy designs in it and everything for like literally $4. I was like, this will go great in the toilet.
And you're just not worried about poo particles.
No, I mean, it's $4, man. And the only one who's going to handle it is me. For the most part. So, I was like, this will go great in the toilet. And it did.
Okay.
I read through that thing more than twice.
I could picture that. Right.
So I guess a couple more. Quezel says Twitter is the best way to poop. Just visualize it falling on some idiot's head.
The sad part is that it's not going to. And
Chris Hawkins says Smash, which is
I think I've done that. I think I've done that multiple
Smash
times.
on the
online
toilet.
matches like 90 seconds long.
I've probably done that. Yeah, do like one of the stamps or something.
I mean, it's either that or Airport Smash. And remember when I was playing Airport Smash, and it actually worked on the airport Wi-Fi.
Wow. And oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It was with you guys.
It was decent. Yeah, it was pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. It was better than when we were actually home and trying to do it.
All right.
Because that's why Liam kept winning, because the lag.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah,
Sure.
Unpatched King K. Rool main Liam.
Apart from when George played me offline with no internet lag and still lost like every game. But that's cool.
Ooh.
It's cool. I'll play him on the toilet next time. I think it won't make a difference.
So speaking of games we're playing at home in our own time, we should probably move on. And are there any more that are urgent though?
Wait. We have to give our own final choices. What's the ultimate toilet game from all three of us?
I'm gonna do based on hours, and I definitely gotta say Twitter.
All right, mine is Twitter, because I was gonna say Twitter as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Twitter guy.
Mine is Twitter.
I think I'm Tetris.
I think Tetris too. Tetris 99.
Yeah, Tetris 99 on the Switch, and then Tetris DS, and then various iterations throughout my life of whatever cell phone I have and whatever version of Tetris is installed on that is easily the winner of times logged while playing in the bathroom.
Hand sanitize or wash off your phone if it's waterproof.
Give it a spray. You don't want the poo particles.
You gotta make it go through a bath. Yeah.
Ugh, I can't. I don't like thinking about what might be stuck in the hinges.
What about
of my
playing
DS
games
now.
in public bathrooms?
I was in high school when I had my DS and was going through my Tetris obsession. So I believe I did play Tetris in the public bathrooms at school for at least on a couple occasions, and definitely at the workplace.
Playing hooky by hiding in the toilet.
Teen Grease is the worst Grease.
Teen Grease.
You laugh because you know what I'm talking about. Just Grease. You don't even know where it comes from. We enjoy all these and we read all these. Thank you so much for answering the question. It was a good time. What have you been playing, guys?
Nothing that I can play on a toilet.
I wish I could play Final Fantasy 14 on a toilet.
Someone did say that.
That person is a liar. Or if they're not lying, tell me how the hell.
Laptop.
You can't. What are you gonna do? Use a fucking trackpad to like?
No, laptop and controller.
Oh, okay. Actually,
it still seems a little elaborate.
Like he comes in, he plugs in his laptop.
Wouldn't your lap get a bit too hot though, and then it become hard to poop?
He may have a table, puts it on the sink.
I thought of something. The game I want to rave about this week is something I have talked about on the podcast before. It's a VR horror game.
Oh.
However, if one plays a VR horror game on the toilet, maybe it'll make it less scary because then you don't have to worry about shitting your pants.
Not really sure that shitting your pants correlates to being less scared. I wouldn't necessarily go into a haunted house being like, well, do you know what? It doesn't matter because I'm okay with shitting my pants.
Yeah, if you're ever at a haunted house, just camp out in the bathroom for the whole night and you're good.
Just wear a diaper. I don't know. Like if that's how fear works, which I don't think it does. I don't think you being okay with shitting your pants means you'd be less scared.
It's all just a social construction, man.
The correlation between how comfortable are you with shitting your pants means you'll be less scared.
What are you really afraid of? Are you afraid of the ghosts in the haunted house, or shitting your pants when you catch a glimpse of the spooky ghosts?
How embarrassing.
I'm going through the PSVR catalog again, and I wanna hype up the Persistence. Like I played a few hours of it a year ago, and I think they updated it with an in-game map these days, and I want to beat it. I want to finish it. It's like it's basically the closest thing we got to a VR version of System Shock 2 at the moment, and it also has some new comfort options in the options screen where I can turn off the silhouetting, and now it like basically feels as comfortable to sit through for long sessions as RE7 did back in the day. So it feels like a pretty good proof of concept for something I have been wanting a VR experience for, which is that E3 2006 demo of BioShock, where Ken Levine is all moody talking about how what you want to do is play off these AIs against each other because they exist in a world that continues on without you. And in the Persistence, they really don't, but it really does matter if you stay slow and silent and hidden and use these serums to kind of throw plasmids around that sets AIs against each other. This game has its own versions of Big Daddies and also its own version of the witches from Left 4 Dead that incorporates a kind of Slender Man mechanic where they move only when you're not looking at them. So you have to get clever with some of these monsters I'm finding in the later game. There's little ninja stealthy type monsters that hide in a corner, but you can see them with your X-ray vision power. So what you have to do is constantly scan the next corner every time you hear that there's news of enemies coming around the next corner, or if the music gets scary, or if the lights turn off. There's like environmental cues that clue you in over whether or not they're hiding. And you don't fight them by like sneak attacking them or trying to get the first blow in. They're always behind cover and staying hidden. So what you do is you just get really close to their hiding spot, shine a flashlight on it, then they get spooked and run away. And it's like this kind of pacifist, non-lethal way of dealing with one of these enemy types. And then those witches with the Slender Man mechanic, it's like opposite Slender Man. You actually want to look at them and backpedal into the unknown. If you turn your camera away, they start moving towards you. So you have to keep your eyes focused on them, which I guess makes them more like that weird SCP dog monster. Remember that old Unity horror game where there was the weird SCP dog monster that you had to keep your eyes trained on as you felt your way out of whatever room it's trying to get you in. And it's good stuff. Like, I think I'm looking at like a contender for one of the favorite PSVR games here. And even playing it alone, the big gimmick when I first started it up was that they advertised this feature where you would have a friend on a smartphone with you who'd be unlocking doors and flicking lights on and off like your hacker buddy remotely. But even when playing by yourself, it is still damn good stuff. I'm genuinely enjoying the Persistence.
Yeah, I remember playing with you. I watched the trailer and it seems different. It seems like there's more powers, at least. Maybe we didn't grab all of them when we were playing the first time.
It feels like it. We were also in the opening areas too, so there was less
cool stuff,
variations that it was casting against each other in there.
Because every time we got to the big boss, we kept losing because we just didn't know how to back him off.
Like the weak point right here, though, is that there's always a section at the end of your runs where there's a little boss area, and that's where the difficulty kind of ramps up to a place where this game might not be suited for it. Like, your character can take like 2-3 hits, and these boss areas have waves of enemies coming after you. So if you mess up, like, if 2 enemies corner you and get 2 hits in, you're kind of done. So that's the weak link here. But the journey on your runs from the stuff in between your starting point and wherever the bosses is like, it's good shock. It's good shock stuff. The shock games would be proud for this unlikely spiritual successor of theirs.
Yeah, it looks dope. I mean, I think with the way the game is played, it'll make it really easy. I don't know, especially with I guess it's with a controller, but some people are really good with a controller. Yeah, but yeah, I would give that a try if I had a PSVR.
Yeah, the kind of roguelike mechanic to it too, where you're supposed to start afresh every time your character dies after 10 to 12, 15 minutes or so is about how long I seem to last. Also seems like a hop out of VR mechanic prompt to prevent motion sickness and keep your eyes grounded. Like a lot of games I'm noticing that are built for VR do that. They want you to take a break every 10 minutes or so. But with the Persistence, you got like 10 to 15 minutes between the prompt to take a break, and that's a good long meaty chunk. And as a result, I was able to sit in there for like 3-4 hour sessions over the weekend and really dig into it.
And no one holding the phone part to freeze enemies.
No.
Oh, hard mode. Okay.
Which I really, really liked. You gotta use a little counter on them and have some first-person back-and-forth melee combat, like you're playing Condemned Criminal Origins.
What about you, Liam?
Playing games. Do games honestly exist outside of Final Fantasy XIV?
Yes.
Honestly, I don't even know anymore. Like, I'm holding out for Fire Emblem next week, and and even on Fire Emblem, I'm kind of like, this is gonna disrupt my Final Fantasy time.
No.
Did you beat a Realm Reborn?
Matt, I am on the final mission.
God damn it.
But
what have you been doing? Why are you so slow?
I'm not slow. I've been dicking around with like samurai now. I got the samurai job class and I've been like being a samurai and all cool and shit, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
Dude, a Realm Reborn is a slog. It is a slog.
My God.
It is.
Do you have to play it before the good
Yes.
stuff?
Yes.
Oof.
Or you can pay to skip shit, but I wouldn't
makes
recommend
no
that.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, then are you under-leveled when you get to the good stuff if you pay?
Yes, you are. But you can buy the job upgrades as well. So you'd have to spend like $35.
I went to howlongtobeat.com's results for how long is Final Fantasy XIV.
Give it to me. Give it to me straight, Doc.
This is their margin here, between 117 hours and 1,874 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's a big margin.
Well,
That's
a Realm Reborn has taken me about 70 plus hours for sure.
Ooh, Stormblood is between 48 hours and 1,189 hours.
You're kidding. Oh, God.
No, the story shouldn't be that long unless they added a lot of filler.
They added a lot of filler to A Realm Reborn. A Realm Reborn must be the longest, right? For sure.
Yeah, for sure. This is a lot of filler.
Like, the thing is, I know I have to do all the patches before I can even reach fucking Heaven's Ward. So, like, god damn it.
Zword.
Dude, I stopped listening
To this podcast?
I stopped listening after all the filler after Heaven's, not Heaven's Word.
Yeah.
Realm Reborn.
A Realm Reborn.
Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. Every time I went to the beach, skipped it. I don't want to hear about cooking. I don't want to hear about any of that. Why is this mandatory?
Yeah. I'm powering through, like, I see all like the blue plus NPCs that have interesting stuff, but I'm just like, I'd love to stop and chat, but I just don't have the time for you, man.
Yeah, because
I do not have the time.
you want to play what you want to play.
Oh, yeah, because I just want to get like further on. I'm happy that there's a lot of content in the game, but also at the same time, I'm like, come on now, this is beyond a joke. But at the same time, I still love playing it, and I'm really enjoying it, and it's weird. It's got a hold on me, and I don't like it because it's got a hold on me. But Fire Emblem, maybe that will snap me back to reality, but we'll see.
I got a spell on you.
Other than that, I saw Spider-Man Far From Home, which took 3 hours of my playing Final Fantasy XIV away.
Is that just like your frame of reference now? Like how you plan your days?
Well, it's about 2.5 hours long, and it requires walking.
Was it worth the stop?
Back. No, it wasn't.
Oh no!
Honestly, wait, have you guys not seen it? I thought Matt, you did.
No, I didn't.
Tomato meters at.
It's fine. I don't want to piss anybody off who really liked it, because there are some people who seemingly were overjoyed by it, which absolutely amazes me.
It's got a 69 on Metacritic and a 90 on Tomato Meter, so I guess it's divisive.
Oh,
yeah, I think so. I think I can see why. The cast is charming. What's her name? Zendaya. Her MJ is the coolest shit. She's amazing as that character. Tom Holland's fine. I think he's all right as Spider-Man. I mean, he's probably the best Spider-Man, but that's not really saying much.
I would say.
The best reason to watch the film, of course, is Jake Gyllenhaal being Mysterio, and he is great.
Yeah.
But it goes on for way too long, and it's just the angle with which they're trying to frame Spider-Man as spoilers about Endgame.
Oh, okay, I got my headphones off.
They're trying to frame Spider-Man to be basically the next Tony Stark Iron Man, and forcing that shit down his throat constantly. I kind of like that angle, though. It's kind of interesting the way they're going with that. But yeah, it's not enough to really carry the film for me. It's fine. It's fine.
Damn.
It's not the best movie. I think 69 is probably what I would give it. But yeah.
Damn.
I would have maybe rather stayed at home playing Final Fantasy 14 and then watched it on Netflix in a year's time.
Okay, with that, I'm back.
Welcome back.
To the Dad and Son show.
That sucks. I was looking forward to it, being a nice little treat.
You might love it. You might love it, man.
No. If you don't like it, I might say it's okay. I think from your taste, we sort of agree on things. We tend to agree on things. So I would be okay, it was fine. I enjoyed myself, but that's it. I didn't really love the movie. It's probably going to be one of those for me then.
There was just none of those high points that most Marvel films have. That moment where you're yeah, okay, it was worth going all the way to the cinema to watch this movie right now.
Does it have anything to do, any continuity with Into the Spider-Verse?
No,
because they're completely separate IPs that have nothing to do with each other.
Being Spider-Man and Marvel and confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like saying, does the last comic book issue have anything to do with the movie? I mean, it's just different.
I was just wondering.
Stop being dumb, George.
They can't do a real a live action black character for Spider-Man and have it work when Tom is doing really well. You see the reaction.
He is fine. He is easily the best Spider-Man that exists, and he's better than Toby and definitely Andrew, I think. But he's just a bit plain Jane. He's very clean smile, boring, and I get it. He's English, and it's great.
That one I like. I love him as Spider-Man, at least so far. Let's see after this.
I think he's got more personality when he's in Avengers, because he plays off the other characters a lot. His introduction when he takes away Captain America's shield in Civil War starts to give you the idea of what he's going to be like. But when he's front and center on his own, he loses a lot of that personality, because a lot of the time, the people he's meant to be bouncing off is his friends, but throughout almost the entire movie, he's always away from his friends. His friends are in a group, and they're all talking to each other about, wow, Spider-Man, look what Spider-Man's doing. But that, of course, means that Spider-Man is far away doing whatever he's doing, fighting or talking with the villain or whatever. So he doesn't get that much chance to bounce off people that often like he does in Avengers, which brings out his personality more. Yeah, it's kind of strange how it's working like that for him.
Well, on the bright side, watch some Jake Gyllenhaal movies. Start with Donnie Darko, get weird with it. Go to some Nightcrawler. That's some good stuff. Prisoners, Brokeback Mountain, I've never watched. I don't know why. Oh no, that was back in the day, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, gaze on a mountain.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Oh yeah, that sure never changed, huh?
Well, no, I think it has a little bit. I mean, I remember the outcry being like loud, really loud.
It was not cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch it.
I just like what's worse, outcry over gay cowboys or outcry over Black Little Mermaid?
Both are dumb and kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, the mermaid is like for different reasons, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I've seen so much.
14 years between the two.
I've seen so much stupidity on Twitter, man, that I just don't know anymore, man. Everyone's on Twitter.
Not even
man.
just Twitter, just like the internet in general. Like you open any news website and you're gonna read something,
and you're like, "Wow, this guy survived. He ties his shoes in the morning. How?" I mean, I saw this like not meme, but this viral tweet where they had a "Make America Great Again" wedding, and she had it like down the line of her dress. I'm like,
oh yeah, I saw.
Why
that.
would you? Why though? It's your special day. Why?
What they call it when one shares their intimate romantic experiences with another man.
She had it down her dress.
Oh my
big letters
God.
down her front of the dress.
Beautiful.
Whatever
Truly
makes
beautiful.
people happy. I guess people have done like Game of Thrones weddings and stuff like that. So I can't, and that doesn't weird me out. So I guess
that's not the same.
Is it the same?
Game of Thrones isn't taking away people's rights.
Yeah.
I mean,
Game of Thrones isn't decommissioning the EPA and NASA and replacing the Justice Department.
No, I set him off.
Game of Thrones doesn't have political power, is what the big difference.
But what is the difference from what we're talking about is the game I've been playing.
There we go. Finally.
Did you play it on the toilet?
I have not. Maybe I should try that. Bring the laptop in, plug it in, get the controller going. Probably have it on my legs, burn my legs a little bit. I've been playing still. I haven't beat it because I didn't have time. Like I think I got near the end. Outer Wilds. I got near the end. At least it feels like it. You feel like you've discovered some like deep stuff, like because you can see you discover some deep stuff. And I'm just gonna say that, and and you're like, oh man, is this the? And then you just don't know where to go. It happens a lot, like where you're just like, okay, what do I do now? I guess I haven't done this yet. Let me do this. Maybe I'm missing a piece of the puzzle. And you're like, oh, I do need to land on this thing. Like so it's good. It's real good, and it just is like. This terrifying, like if you were to go into space now, it would be terrifying. Like you're out there, and like anything that would happen, you would just be lost in space, and that's your life. You're done. Like that, or
it's a pretty cool way to go.
And if you were to,
it's horrifying. It's a horrifying way to go.
Yeah, and imagine going through a black hole and not knowing exactly what it does, and the way it moves your like the vision of space that you're looking at, like it's just
how you can see stuff behind the black hole when you're in front of the black hole.
Like that feeling of the unknown is on planets, and everything in Outer Wilds, and it's good.
Oh man, I love me some like weird.
It's
space.
Weird space, dude. I think you might like this. If you love Subnautica, like a guy tweeted at me, he's like, "Is it like Subnautica, like that weirdness of like an unknown planet?" And like, it's kind of like that. No crafting, but yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I think you should play it, George.
Oh,
I think you should play it. I at least give it a like. Go to the planets, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, what?" And there's gonna be things you don't understand, and it's gonna be okay. Like it's the way they have the cookie crumbs all over the place. It's good. It's good. It's pretty solid. And usually I don't like mist type of games, but this one, it's done well. Even though I would say I've gotten not, you don't really get stuck. You just feel like you made a big discovery and you feel like it should just, snowball. No, you gotta keep going and hopefully you get to a certain part where you're like, oh yeah, this is a big discovery, and this is the end of the game. Yeah, but yeah, it's a long one. It's not a short one.
Got an interesting fact for you. You might not know this. So you know the company that makes Outer Wilds?
Yeah.
What are they called?
Mobius Digital.
Do you know who owns that company?
No.
Who?
That guy who played Hero in Heroes. Is that his name?
Seriously?
Yeah.
What? No way.
Yeah. He's like the head creative guy. He's like super into video games. And like the guy who originally came up with Outer Wilds was like a student. And he pitched it. And somehow the guy from Heroes found it and was like, hey, I'm going to throw a bunch of money at this and create a game studio. And they did.
Dude, they made a good game.
It's pretty cool.
I don't know if I said this last time, but I think it's a good game. I think it's a good game, man. That's it. Whatever they tried to accomplish, I think they did it, and they should be proud. They should definitely be proud. It's good.
You have to check it out at some point.
Yeah. If you like Myst Subnautica type of games, this might be up your alley. Like really deep in there. Yeah, deep in your alley.
I'm waiting on another bitter topic that'll come up later, and that's whenever it'll show up on another digital store.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, let it go, man. Let it go.
It's not hard to wait. It is not hard at all. I got plenty of games to play in the meantime.
Then don't complain about it.
I'm not really. It's my plan.
A bitter moment, he says.
Oh, it's gonna be. We'll
get
there.
I mean, this Steam is to be announced, so
I'm patient.
It's at least it's coming at some point. You could get it on the Microsoft Store if you don't want the Epic Store.
That's even worse. Oh yeah, no, it's on the Microsoft Store. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go pee.
It's Sega season at Prime Cable. Right now, Prime Cable, Kmart, and Pepsi are offering incredible savings on the Sega Channel, Sega Genesis units, and games. All you have to do is buy a cube of Pepsi at any area Kmart. Bring your receipt to Prime Cable on Saturday, December 7th between 10 and 4, and you'll save over $35 on the Sega Channel with free activation and free first month service. Plus, meet Sonic and Classy 100 Air personalities and sign up for free prizes. Give the gift of fun this holiday season. The Sega Channel, offered exclusively at Prime Cable.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dad and Sons podcast. I hope your day is going well. You know, our mornings, me and George are straight, I would say. Liam over there is about to play some Final Fantasy 14 throughout all the night.
I wish, man. I wish.
My mornings are just getting better and better. Holy crap. I reset my sleep schedule to like a more normal thing. Last week was like the first time in years where I actually deliberately aimed to get up around 7:30 and actually did, and went to the Waffle House and had a coffee and a pancake and it felt like I was a normal person.
It's so cute.
Waffle House? I feel like you could find something a little bit more.
You guys, I love seeing the city wake up. When I was doing my bicycle trip, and whenever I'm like camping, whenever I'm out sleeping on the streets, you know, I love that feeling of waking up around the same time you start seeing garbage trucks and traffic jams begin. It makes you feel like you're part of society.
It is very alluring. I both simultaneously despise waking up because I am not a morning person. But when I am up and it's really early, I love it. It's so fresh. There's all this weird stuff happening that you've never seen before because you're always too lazy.
And it reminds you that that everyone's got a job and society functions off of that.
And like it gets to like 11 a.m. and you feel like you've already lived an age and you're like, wow, it's still so early.
What am I going to do with the next 14 hours I have left today?
Yeah.
Wake up early and go on a hike. That's a
You
hike.
see, well, I am getting into a pretty good habit where Monday, Wednesday, and Friday these days, I wake up at 7:30 and I go to the gym. And that is like my good habit. And then the rest of the time, I don't have to start working until like 9:45. So I don't live that far away. So I wake up at dead on 9 every day.
Can't really take hikes in Atlanta in the morning.
Yeah.
But I bet in Japan there's more options in a lot of cities.
Oh, it's good.
It can get bad when you've been out karaokeing until like the early hours of the morning, and because karaoke rooms are really dark, then you get confused. You think it's always night, but then you go outside and you see those same garbage trucks that fill you with joy when you wake up early, but fill you with dread that it's like 6 a.m. and you've been karaokeing for 7 hours and not realized it.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than hearing the garbage trucks when you go to bed, and there's nothing better than hearing the garbage trucks when you're waking up.
Dad and sons, we like the smell of trash in the morning.
Speaking of trash,
oh yeah, baby.
The BBC has put out an article rounding up some stories from. The BBC's fine. It's their topic at hand here. That's
it's a British institution, I'll have you know, sir.
Don't they typically like rate pretty highly as far as like accuracy and fact checking are going? They're like publicly funded, right?
The BBC's fine. It's where I read my news for the most part. But it's a bit wishy-washy when you're funded by the people technically, but also take donations and money from elsewhere. Anyway,
the BBC has rounded up some stories from concerned parents over kids who have spent a shitload of money on mobile games. The article here opens up with someone who had a 22-year-old disabled son with cerebral palsy, complex epilepsy, autism, learning difficulties that I guess total up to the approximate cognitive ability of a 7-year-old child. He has been charged £3,168 between February and March of this year, which cleaned out their entire savings. The mother contacted iTunes, who were extremely helpful but unable to refund the amount, and then pushed her on to contact the game developer. The quote here that hits hard to me is that it's extremely distressing that vulnerable people such as my son become victims of what is thought to be an educational game.
What is the game?
The game in question is Hidden Artifacts. Let's see how the BBC describes it. Involves finding various items and matching them to the description.
Yeah.
Okay. What's he doing? Just paying for the hints? What's he doing?
It looks like the room games where you have to find things.
Oh, like where you manipulate objects to find stuff or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got another one, a 16-year-old son who spent £2,000 on a mobile EA NBA basketball game. Apparently, this kid was using the parent's bank card, and then parent had no way of realizing until the bank started declining payments.
Don't give your kids your phones.
I don't know what to do when I have kids. I mean, Liam is probably really weirded out by some talk me and Matt had over like whether or not we need to immigrate before having children happens.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. It's weird because I was having the same conversation about the opposite, about Japanese schooling systems being so tough for kids that you'd probably want to move after a certain point. Anyway, besides the point, don't give your kids your phone, especially if your phone is connected to your credit card. Feel like it's just a given as a precaution in the first place, right?
Quote. EA made no response to me, and Google Play has a disclaimer about kids using parents' banks without permission. My daughter had to use her university savings to pay the bill, and it has caused huge damage to our family, says Susan Taylor from Scotland.
Wait, the daughter's in university and she spent that amount of money? What is she doing? She should know better.
How old is she?
I imagine English university would be 18, 19.
Like, is she a freshman or, you know?
Well, if a freshman would be 18.
Yeah.
I mean, also, if the parent doesn't have the money, but is there really, what is the reasonable action to take there? Do you take out a like quick payday loan to pay this bill? If your kid racks up $2,000 on mobile games, what is a parent supposed to even do?
There is already standards. Like, mobile gaming has changed a lot, of course, because it became this huge, massive thing. But there are prompts to stop you from doing in-app purchases now, and you have to go through things. But it's weird. This coming up. When I was doing some research the other day, looking into some mobile titles for some things, I nearly accidentally, by my phone changing from portrait to landscape, accidentally pressed a £99 DLC by accident.
Oh.
And nearly actually pressed it. And I pressed it and it went up to the prompt, and then like all it is a tick. And if you press the tick because your account's already set up, it will just automatically happen. And I was so close to pressing it that in the fear, I immediately went to my emails and was checking through to make sure I didn't have like a payment receipt from Apple, because I was freaking out. I just accidentally, by my screen rotating and moving the position of all the prompts, paid for £99 DLC.
Yeah. Was there like lag that got you to misclick? Because that happens to me a lot.
So the screen lagged while it was rotating, and then when it came back, it was like it brought up the prompt for the 99.
Oh, that's what you clicked on 2 seconds ago when it wasn't even on the screen where your finger
And I'm
was.
like, no, and I like quickly like double tap and like swipe the app out, and I go back and it's like, oh, disconnect from the iTunes store. I'm like, thank fuck.
Wow.
My God.
With these stories, especially the university one, it's like hard for me to relate. And I say a few people who just don't buy these things because if they don't have the money to waste on like some mobile game that you're probably gonna toss in like a couple weeks or whatever, you just don't buy it. You know, you don't get addicted enough to spend $2,000.
But you remember being a kid, right? When you had no money and would play anything that was free?
Yeah.
I do remember using my dad's old Nokia and going to the game section. And this was like a couple of generations before iPhone and the Sharp LG phone or whatever it was that had the colorful pictures and stuff, where it could connect to the internet and it would have games like the Tomb Raider mobile port, the Rayman mobile port, the upgraded version of Snake and stuff. And I would just like download them because I had no idea what I was doing. And then my dad told me like maybe 6 months later, he was like, hey, you purchased those games when you downloaded them. I was like, oh shit.
I think one of my most shameful memories in my brain throughout my entire lifetime involves me borrowing another kid's Game Boy at daycare. I might have been like 5 or 6. I was too young to know what the word delete means in context of a person's list of save files. And I was just pressing buttons and didn't realize what I had done until it was too late.
Oh, no.
And that kid was never going to be my friend after that point. But when thinking back
You are the worst.
on how like 5-6-year-old me didn't even know what the word delete was, I can't imagine what 5-6-year-old kids nowadays are supposed to know what the words like purchase and transaction and verify are and authorize are supposed to mean.
They sure know how to talk shit on YouTube, that's for sure.
Well. Speaking of kids who are 5 and way younger than that to have an established vocabulary. Well, next up we got Claire from West Yorkshire, who has a 5-year-old kid.
Jesus.
This 5-year-old kid installed Mini Golf King on their parents' phone and knew they were not allowed to spend money, but somehow the parent described it as this game successfully tricked him into spending £300 on in-app purchases. Fortunately, my card issuer blocked some of these transactions, but a purchase for $75 went through, along with a few smaller ones. When my son realized that he had spent real money, he was completely inconsolable, saying he was so sorry for being naughty, and he thought they were pretend coins. My refund request via Google Play was automatically rejected. Oh, here we go. I explained that my son is autistic and his disability makes him vulnerable. He doesn't really understand the concept of being manipulated, and he wouldn't necessarily understand why people who make games want money. Oh, that's some childhood innocence for you. Why would people who make games want money from you? Oof.
Back in the days, that's how it was.
I offered to delete the account and submit a refund case, but they said this would be non-reversible. I have heard nothing since. People will say, well, you should be supervising him. I was in the room, says Claire from West Yorkshire, as I imagine her arms waving in the air. But the game is a children's game, rated PEGI 3. I would allow him to watch a U-rated film, and I assumed PEGI 3 games were safe to play with casual supervision. This makes me wonder, actually.
That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point.
Maybe this is the solution. Maybe PEGI and the ESRB could include rules about how difficult it is to access in-game purchases and incorporate that into the age rating.
You should probably not be allowed to do it under certain ages anyway.
People have always said that like self-regulation is supposedly the best solution here, and this is I'm sure this is a solution that has been discussed by people more important than us.
This is bad. This is bad, man.
It has been for a while as well. It does need
to
be more regulated.
Tricking kids, man.
I mean, some parents should not be allowing their kids to have their phones, especially if they're connected to credit cards anyway. Like that, I feel like you should just not be doing anyway. But yeah, definitely educational games or games aimed at children, where the audience specifically, the target audience is children, you should not be putting in-app purchases in those games.
My kids are going to be real mad at me. I think the best solution I'm going to have here is like give them an old phone with no data.
Just buy them a Final Fantasy 14 MMO subscription.
Oh no.
Once a month. And then they don't need anything else.
I mean, there's a little like reading under. It says in-app purchases, and you just don't buy those games or don't download.
Well, I'm just thinking of giving my kids a cell phone that has no internet access at all.
I mean,
I'll do all the installing for them.
I don't know if that works.
Amish dad.
When they're old enough to figure out a way around it, they should be old enough to figure out why I was doing that in the first place.
It's a good test.
Right, because you always got to keep that in mind. Your kids are gonna figure out how to get around your rules. Your rules are there to send a message. Don't assume that they're there to actually block them permanently out of this stuff.
Like, how much do you really want to download Temple Run 25? Like, are you really gonna break my rules?
Yeah. Maybe the kid will find out from how much extra effort it takes to download this crap that is just
how far does this go?
That's how I found out whether an anime is worth it. Like, am I going to download this anime? It's too much effort.
Yeah. How far does this go?
Let's be home by 10.
We can move on, I think, at this point.
Be home by 9 a.m.
Breaks it.
It depends on how walkable the neighborhood is, I guess. That's contextual. Next big news story of the week folds into something that I think Liam and I and maybe Matt too, I don't know, might get hyped over. Tetris Effect is coming to the PC. Matt, did you play Tetris Effect?
No, I did not.
Well, you can. Do you remember Matt? Do you remember Matt's like thing? Do you remember from last year? I'll never forget it.
What?
Go on, Matt.
What?
Say the catchphrase.
I don't know what my catchphrase was last year.
It's just Tetris.
It's just Tetris.
It's just Tetris. Why is everybody so hyped about this? It's just Tetris.
It's just Tetris. Look at it. It's just Tetris.
It's not wrong. It's a pretty Tetris with like cool sound design. It's the next best version of just Tetris.
They probably made this thinking like, oh,
have virtual sex with your best friend. Good Tetris.
They probably made this thinking like, oh, it's not gonna be popular. It's just like, we would love to do this for ourselves, you know? And then all of a sudden it blew up. Oh my God, Tetris is amazing. And people were like, oh my God. I
remember hearing more chatter about Tetris 99 than Tetris Effect, really. But...
No, Tetris Effect, when it came out, fucking blew up.
Yeah, it blew up.
It won Game of the Year in some places.
What the hell? What the hell? All they did was put pretty colors and music. What?
But it's made by Mizuguchi and Mark. It's great.
For what?
Tetris.
For iterating and improving the game of all time.
Oh my god.
You can't beat, like, when it's the game of all time.
So, Tetris Effect is coming to PC with HTC Vive and Oculus Rift support. You can also play it with their wand-style controllers, which, I don't know. Matt might have a better mental image of this than I do, but because the touchpad, like, how well of a sense of control are you going to get out of a game that requires
I do not want to play Tetris with the controllers
Yeah.
of the Vive or the Rift.
Yeah.
No.
And that doesn't seem right.
Matt,
I don't know. That doesn't seem right.
As a former owner, maybe you might have a better idea of what that control scheme would look like.
For Oculus,
Tetris on the Rift wands, yeah.
I would hope they have a keyboard mode where you can see it in VR while using your keyboard, but it'll be just like a controller. I mean, that's what they are. The wands, the one that the HTC Vive, those have the touchpad, but the Oculus does not have a touchpad.
I'm
it just has
thinking
regular
like
buttons.
you rub your thumb on the touchpad and that control, it's like your Tetris piece is stuck on your thumb. The trigger rotates, so you like move your thumb around, rotate with the trigger. I'm worried about carpal tunnel syndrome, but I don't know. It plays fine with a controller on the PlayStation, so that might end up being the ideal way it's meant to be played. But depending on how they do the tracking for that touchpad, it might be a little iffy.
I mean, they could map it to the buttons to make it feel like a D-pad. I mean,
does the Oculus controller have buttons?
Yeah. It's a regular controller split in half.
Ah, yeah, there we go. I see it. So wait, was this whole time I might have been thinking of the HTC one? With the
that's
touchpad.
what I was saying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the Oculus controller. There's a left and a right button there, and triggers for rotations that should be fine.
Yeah.
That is the one with the touchpad with no traditional D-pad. Okay. I wonder if you like wave it. Ooh, maybe you hold a trigger down and then start moving your hand to control the left and right of the piece dropping. Anyways, what's less iffy is 4K resolution and up, ultra wide resolution support, uncapped frame rate, no VSync, options for texture filtering. You can adjust the particle size and volume so that you can play just Tetris but prettier with all of that goopy, glowy particle effects ramped up to 11. Strap yourself in VR and go flying through the cosmos playing Tetris with like stars just killing your eyeballs of brightness. However,
wow, we're paying for a mod pack basically.
No. However, you will have to pay for that Epic Game Store exclusivity.
That's why there's so many dislikes on this video.
Yep. This keeps coming up. It's a bitter point of contention that has caused arguments on this podcast before that we should not spend much time on. I guess let's see how should we do this? Liam, I'm going to give you 20-30 seconds here to state your piece, and then I'll give myself 20-30 seconds to state mine, and then maybe we can move on.
Okay.
You sound scared. Are you scared?
No.
Oh.
I'm resolute. Who's first, me or you?
I'll flip a coin.
Why you flip a coin?
I got a jar of pennies
You
next
could
to me
cheat.
is how.
I'll say the people who haven't
that's a good
installed
point.
the launcher, you're missing out some free games, man. I got a lot of free games.
We should do rock, paper, scissors, and we just say after 3 the word.
Okay, yeah, that's more foolproof.
So
all right,
3, 2, 1, then say.
Okay. Wait, who's doing the countdown?
Matt can do the countdown.
the referee. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Rock.
Scissors.
Ah.
Okay.
my statement, my stand.
Yeah.
Reality is video games need money to be made. This is one way of doing it because it's very hard to recoup your losses and either your development costs when making video games. One way to do it is through exclusivity deals. Every company in the world that has a platform, Sony, PlayStation, Nintendo, Apple, Steam, Epic Store, they have to bring people to their store. This is how it works. This is how it has worked for a while. Changing that would make massive detrimental effect on smaller video game studios like Enhance, which is a studio in Japan of the size of about 5 people who then hire other studios in Japan to work on projects like Tetris Effect, which thankfully has been very successful, but probably not as successful as you think. That's why they have to rely on stuff like exclusivity deals. And now you look, as just Matt has just pointed out, you now get free games with Epic and you're missing out. And all of these new games that are getting added to it make it a more viable thing to have on your PC. It is not hard to download another launcher for this kind of thing. But supporting games is great, so go buy it full price. If not, stop complaining that games have exclusivity deals because the money has to come from somewhere to pay people's salaries. There you go.
The longevity and reliability of the Epic Game Store has yet to be proven, as well as its online security issues, which have been a thing in the past. As a consumer with money on the line that you need to pay for healthcare and food and other surprisingly expensive transactions every single month, it makes more sense to wait and be patient and wait for games to get cheaper and get upgrades. Yeah,
cool. Okay, no, I don't disagree with you.
I guess, I mean, no one wants to hear my opinion, but you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say,
referee, you're not
I don't care.
This. You're impartial. You're impartial.
I don't care.
I agree with George. It's better to buy games cheaper, but that's what makes it harder to make games. Because they cost money to make.
The reality of video game funding, depending on exclusivity deals like that, speaks to what I believe is a greater problem involving how games are funded and how much money in our society gets funded to arts in general and how viable these careers and projects can be. The digital ownership is a huge issue for me as a stickler point. I don't know. I kind of wish I opened with that, actually, because it's like, how do you know if you're still going to be able to play them 10 years from now?
How do you know anything? Like, that argument to me is...
No, we had this conversation.
Like, okay, no, just 1 point on that. Just one, and now I'm done.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking knows anything about the viability or the longevity of fucking anything. We use Audacity and Skype and stuff to record this podcast. Who fucking knows whether they'll be around next year and whether iTunes will be around to host this podcast or whatever. Like, it doesn't... It's the same as every digital piece of media right now in the world. So it's just like... It's a moot point right now.
My opinion is I don't care. Developers get that money. I know how it is to not have it. So... get that money. Get paid for what you're doing. As long as the Epic launcher is not a virus and not messing up my computer, I am okay installing another launcher. I gotta install it. I gotta install Blizzard for other games, so no one complains about that crap.
Watch Ken Wong, the creator of Florence's GDC talk from this year that came out today on their YouTube channel about the postmortem of Florence, and he goes in depth about how Annapurna funded that project to be the publisher and how they were basically incredibly important to how that game got funded and wouldn't exist without it. That is one good example of that. Anyway.
You know, yeah, this actually segues into how Neon Genesis Evangelion was held up in a rights limbo for years.
Yeah.
And American viewers had no legal way of watching it until fairly recently, between the DVD releases way back in the day and now in 2019, until Netflix acquired that.
I'm just going to leave. See you guys later.
Bye, Matt.
See ya. We were planning on a spoiler chat between me and Liam.
Time for good times.
All right, let me make a timestamp down here for a moment that I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for. Oh my God, Liam, do you remember like 2 years ago when we got a fan mail that was saying, "Can you guys talk about anime?"
Yeah, it was old. What was his name? Johnny, Lonely Johnny.
It's finally happening. The dream of Lonely Johnny is finally coming true.
So yeah, I don't know why we're doing this, but George has been very enthusiastic about in our chat, in our group chat. George has been very enthusiastic about Evangelion.
This is like the only anime series I've actually managed to complete to a point where we can have a spoiler chat on the podcast. So this is an event.
I guess so, right? Yeah. So we're having an impromptu, not an impromptu. We planned this. We're having a one-off spoiler cast. We have done spoiler casts in the past for games and stuff, haven't we? And movies,
but never anime.
But not an anime. I don't think. I don't remember. But we feel like Evangelion would be, as George has actually watched a show from beginning to end. And wait, George, have you watched End of Evangelion?
Yes. Yeah, I did not see the other movie, though. I've been told that that's entirely optional.
Yeah, I feel like Death and Rebirth, I think that's what it's called. The other ones are basically retellings of the story. Oh, man,
it has some, like, Kingdom Hearts-ass name, too. It's like Death and Rebirth 1/2 to the 3rd power.
It has Japanese naming conventions, yes. And the other one is like Evangelion what is it? The new one, Rebirth. No, what?
Birth.
Rebirth or something, like the remaking the series again. I don't.
Oh, well, it does. That's not what we'll be talking about.
We're talking about Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion. We have to start with the most famous part of all of Evangelion.
You actually know the words?
Of course, it's literally one of the most famous karaoke songs in Japan.
Nice.
It's super famous.
So, I was thinking of starting us off with an improv game in which we'll try to recite from memory how it begins and just how batshit insane crazy it ends.
Yeah.
With the two of us swapping sentences off between each other.
How are we doing this? Are we doing this like from beginning to the end of the series to then the end of Evangelion?
Yeah, the end of the end of Evangelion.
Yeah, but the end of the series and the end of Evangelion are the same timeline, just retold 2 different ways.
But we can still go in order and try to make a 5-minute synopsis here to give listeners a quick refresher.
I mean, we can try.
Okay, are you ready?
Okay, let's start.
All right, I'm gonna start us off. The year is 2015, and Tokyo 3 is under attack.
A whiny boy named Shinji meets a really cool ass woman called Katsuragi.
Katsuragi and Shinji's dad need him to get into a giant fighting robot, but he really, really doesn't want to.
Shinji's dad, by the way, is a massive dick.
We think so far, because the first episode gets into a little bit of how big the theme of dad issues are in this anime.
I mean, there's a lot of issues in this anime, but one of them is dad issues, and he gets into the big robot, and then he fights a thing called an angel.
It's a big blob kaiju monster that destroys the city, and it ends up defeating Shinji's robot, which goes berserk and defeats the angel in its berserk mode in Shinji's near-death state.
Yeah, you don't see the end of that fight, because Shinji wakes up in hospital like the little bitch he is, not remembering anything.
Oh my god. Let's see what happens in the next episode.
Monster of the week.
Ray shows up in the next episode, and she's like a weird. Well, she was also in the first episode, but Ray is a strange robotic person.
She's all like being up and stuff.
Shinji walks in on Ray getting out of the shower, and they have an anime fan service moment.
Wait, is that the second episode? Wow, that's really early.
Second, might be third. One of the early ones.
Then the only one who can fight is Eva 1, which is Shinji's robot. The famous purple one. Eva 00, Ray's robot doesn't work properly.
Shinji gets picked on at school by a bully.
Because Shinji's robot fucked up a building that had this bully's sister in it, and the sister had to go to hospital.
But Shinji and Ray defeat the next angel together, which is like a weird diamond thing that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
They have these things called the AT fields, which is called After Terror? What is it called?
I don't remember them getting into that, actually.
Yeah, the AT field is called, After Terror. It symbolizes the barriers we put up against other people. Anyway, this is later in the series, but it symbolizes the barriers. They're basically physical barriers of what you put up around you to block other people out of your life because you're afraid to let people in.
The scientists behind the Evangelion specify that it only works on these 14-year-old children in particular. For some reason, no other demographic can pilot these robots.
I mean, that's all bullshit and horseshit because we know by the end it's because Evangelions have souls.
In a few episodes later, Asuka shows up, who's a real mean girl. Is she American or German or both? I don't...
Her name is not Asuka, it's Asuka Soru Langley. She is half German, half Japanese.
And she's real mean.
And she is the worst character in the world.
God, she never stops talking shit about everyone.
She, I mean, to be fair, she has very bad mental health issues, but she's a terrible human being.
Shinji and Asuka have to defeat a robot together by learning how to dance together.
Yeah, they have to, they use old school Sony Walkmans to practice being in sync with each other. And Rei, and then Asuka thinks she's amazing at everything, but then Rei and Shinji do it immediately one time together, and then Asuka throws a hissy fit.
The next angel that shows up is just a blob shadow with a zebra pattern on it, and they don't know how to fight it because it breaks the laws of physics.
Angels, by the way, they never really explain what the hell angels are until you look deeper into Wikipedia's, but basically they're just these things that turn up, and they kind of just mind their own business shooting lasers and stuff, and then they get always within 5 minutes get beaten up by Evangelions, which are possibly the worst machinery in the world.
Shinji's Evangelion gets defeated by the angel and he gets schlooped into the shadow blob where he has a conversation with another layer of his consciousness that tells him that there are different versions of Shinji that exist inside other people's souls, and it gets all weird.
We skipped 4 episodes at this point, but yeah, essentially Shinji becomes it's a foreshadowing of the end of the series, and Shinji basically becomes one with his Eva because the idea is that humans all have souls and they don't need their physical bodies to actually exist.
Oh god, what's the another angel that... Oh yeah.
Oh, Shinji gets spat out naked after that experience.
And there's the one that's in orbit that's gonna bomb Nerve, but they catch the bomb and throw it away. Wait, that happens before that. Ah!
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay, cool. Never mind, then we're good.
I don't think so anyway. It's all jumbled at this point, but in the background there's a guy called Kaji who is really cool, and he likes sleeping with women, specifically one woman who is a badass. So they're both badasses together. And he's secretly working for Nerf, but also secretly working for the Japanese defense government force thing. So he's trying to find out information about Shinji's dad and about these people called SEAL, who are basically the Illuminati, and they have a plan called the Adam Project.
While Shinji's floating around naked in the goop realm, we learn that Misato has dad issues too, because her dad saved her during the apocalyptic second impact, but she wants revenge on both the angels and her dad? It gets weird?
Yeah, Misato is Katsuragi, by the way, the cool general lady who is dating Kaji.
Oh god, shit, we don't have a lot of time left. Fuck.
Well, keep going.
Shinji, when battling oh god, the next angel turns out to be a little boy that hits on Shinji and it gets gay.
Yes, Kaoru. Kaoru comes along, and he's this really white-looking thing. Kind of looks like a male version of Rei. Really confident, swami little kid. Shinji kind of falls in love with him. He tells Shinji that, depending on the translation you're looking at, he loves him or he likes him, that he's worthy of his grace.
Shinji's cool with it.
Shinji's like, hey, maybe I'm gay. Well, he doesn't really do that, but it's implied that maybe he thinks...
It's implied.
He has feelings for Kaoru. But then he ends up having to squash his head, so...
Yeah, Shinji finds the courage within himself.
Not the courage.
Oh, God, wait, we totally skipped over how there was a fourth child that Shinji didn't want to kill when the angel takes over. Oh, God.
By the way, yeah, the bully we were talking about 5 minutes ago.
Arc. Yeah.
The bully turns out that he ends up being the fourth of children. They're the fourth pilot for the next Evangelion. But then that Evangelion basically goes berserk immediately and they can't control it. So Shinji has to kill it. So he kills it and he basically he doesn't. His dad puts it into autopilot mode, and then it fucking destroys that guy's thing, and Shinji thinks he's killed his friend, and he basically at that point loses all mental facilities whatsoever.
Yeah, it's important that when Shinji kills the other angel who's a boy, there's less hesitation there than there was the first time.
No, I don't know. Shinji pops that fucker's head and then forever hates himself.
And then, like, the last 3 episodes happen, and, like, the animation style starts turning into, like, doodles and sketches.
You missed the part that the angel boy, the floating boy who liked Shinji, was floating down to the bottom of Nerf because he wanted to meet a giant angel that, well, originally one of the first angels, Lilith, which basically is like the creator of all life on Earth. Human beings are actually called Lilins. There you go.
While the animation style gets all goopy because they're plugged into the Human Instrumentality Project, which is like the Matrix.
That company, that Illuminati called SEAL, basically they have been planning all along for the final angel to come along, and then for Eva 1 to merge with the Lilith angel, so that then all human beings could lose their physical bodies and basically become the singularity. They wanted all of the human souls to live as one. So there's no barriers between any human beings whatsoever.
So in a really weird way, it turns out that everything was going according to Shinji's dad's plan, because he was the Dead Sea Scrolls predicted an apocalypse where humanity had to evolve into something.
So he was helping Seal achieve this because he wanted to be back with his wife, which was Shinji's mother, who is now dead, but is actually Shinji's robot.
So in the movie, we find out that while all that was going on, there was like a fucking war.
Whoa. If you didn't know, Evangelion was created by Hideki Anno, and he basically lost his mind towards the end of the show, and also his budget. So the last 2 episodes of the original series are a complete cop-out of crazy, psychedelic, schizophrenic drawings about Shinji's mentality of being, whether he wants to choose to be part of the singularity and be able to accept everybody, or to be a physical human being again, and to deal with the barriers of human life and realize that Shinji is enough. He is worth it.
And then Shinji's dad, after sacrificing Rei in a self-destruct sequence, finds another clone of Rei, and Rei like absorbs his hand and turns into God or something.
So this is now not the original series. This is the movie End of Evangelion, which Anno made because everybody hated the original. So he was like, well, fuck you. I'll make a big bombastic cinematic experience for you to all see what I actually really planned for the ending.
Shinji becomes his robot and turns into like the size of the moon, and so does a giant naked version of Rei, and then they have space sex.
Shinji's dad puts what's called Adam, an embryo of Adam, the original angel, into his hand, and then he puts his hand on Rei's breast. Rei actually then just chops off his hand with her breast and merges into it. Then she merges into Lilith, the big second angel, and then they create this giant planet-sized Rei who starts to suck up all of the souls of all the humans in the world, and then combines with Eva 1 and the Sphere of Longus to basically send all human beings into like a soul realm.
Everyone turns into floating crosses and gets sucked up into Rei's giant vagina hands.
Yes, she does have vagina hands.
And then
what happens is the same kind of thing as the last 2 episodes, episode 25 and 26, happen again, where Shinji is in his own mind. He's seeing like fragments of Asuka and his relationship with Asuka, his relationship with Katsuragi, with Rei, with Kaji.
God.
Basically, they're always naked because he's attracted to all of them. He's basically a weird little pedo kid, and he just basically once again chooses that he wants to be a human being and he wants to deal with the barriers that we put up against other people. But this time he's going to let people in, and he's going to realize that, Shinji, you are good enough.
And there's this weird fourth wall breaking segment where the camera pans across the theater audience, and then there's like a shot of Eva cosplayers in a Japanese crowd.
Anno did this weird thing during End of Evangelion where he basically fourth wall breaked everything, where he filmed a cinema audience who watched the original Evangelion. And then he overlaid that with like loads of death threats he received about the ending, just while Shinji is monologuing for some reason. But George, what happens in the end on the beach?
I don't...
Like, the only 2 people who basically wake up from this human, like from the soul thing, was Shinji and Asuka, and he thinks Asuka's dead, so he tries to strangle her for some reason.
Oh yeah, the movie begins with him jerking off and ends with him strangling.
Yeah. And then she touches his face, and he's like, oh, okay, you're alive. And then she's like, you're disgusting.
Yeah, it begins and ends with, like, harrowing episodes of abuse towards Asuka.
Good job.
What the fuck did I watch?
And there you go. That's Evangelion in a 10-minute nutshell.
Yeah, okay. So, I have a list of discussion questions for us. First
God.
Why do we think this got so popular in Japan in the mid-90s?
Because Japan has a problem with mental health. Japan has a well-documented sweep it under the rug, don't talk about it, mental health problem. Mental health in Japan is not treated seriously. And Evangelion is less about the robots and more about the human fragility of the mind.
Yes.
Also, it has giant robots in it.
And this is a great example of postmodernism happening around that turn of the 90s, where things that were full of kitschy sci-fi, what is traditionally garbage schlock, ends up getting really weird and introspective and actually like genuinely helpful and progressive.
It's important to document that it came at a time when mecha anime was like peak popularity. Gundam, Macross, and other shows like Big O and stuff like that was just coming out in the 80s and the 90s. And then all of a sudden you had this new mech anime coming out that turned out to be Evangelion, which had essentially everything to do about the mechs, but they weren't really mechs. They were just giant human beings with souls that people sat in. And
the robotic... everything about them that looks like a robot is actually just armor placement on top of the goopy, weird bio goop inside.
Yeah, it's basically to keep their internal human berserk powers inside of them.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate having watched Gunbuster before this, because that shows the just how different it is. Like, Gunbuster had these themes where the teenage girls that piloted the giant robots would come back after 30-year-long light speed voyages that felt like a few days for them, but they'd come back and all their family would either be extremely aged since then or dead, and they gradually lost purpose because of their obsession with their giant robot shtick, and that just gets ramped up to a scary place. And towards the end of Evangelion, the last 10 episodes of the series, and then the movie, like, I was genuinely at the edge of my seat. I couldn't put it down for that chunk. And that
it is a pretty crazy ending, and it flies by. It's only an hour and 20 minutes long, but it does fly by. But yeah, it leaves a weird hollow feeling, the end of Evangelion. You're not really sure what to think.
I appreciate the downer. Like when I was in college, I typically like rated media experiences on a scale of how many times did this thing make me ask, okay, what the fuck did that mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, I feel like overall, like, I'm not sure if it's even good.
Really?
Yeah, like, it's not. Like, the middle sections from, like, episode, like, 9 to, like, 18 are just Monster of the Week episodes that...
Yeah, that is my primary gripe as well.
Don't really have any progress whatsoever, and then it basically just, like, falls off a cliff in regards to it trying to cram in all of its themes, and the original series doesn't explain, like, the side plot about the Instrumentality Project very well. It literally doesn't explain anything about what the angels are. You only see Lilith once. It is not a very structurally sound TV show originally. It took, like, a lot of additional movies and media to be added to it to flesh out what we know as Evangelion today.
That was my biggest issue, were episodes in the beginning that kind of felt like yeah, you just described as Monster of the Week. I feel like that's a better description than filler, though, because, like, stuff happens, they're exciting, but it's not important.
They fight 18 angels, so the middle of that is them just dealing with angels in different situations, because all of the angels come in different forms and have different powers and do different things. It is Monster of the Week. But it's meant to be like that. It's meant to riff off Japanese cliche
and
like Super Sentai stuff, which it has always been Monster of the Week stuff.
And since it was originally billed as a TV series, they had to get a way to fill out that week after week after week schedule. I was reading a fan email that describes to me that what I'm actually probably going to want to be looking for is OVAs, original video series. I didn't know, like, how big of a distinction there was between the two.
OVAs are basically recaps of a series, just condensed.
Huh. So, okay, because all the times I've been able to really get into an anime are like this last 10 episodes of Evangelion plus the movie. Those 8 episodes of FLCL, the 6 episodes of the Hellsing OVA I watched out of high school. Like
you need to watch more classic anime. Like, there's a reason, for the most part, that a lot of these anime get talked about for years and years and years.
I see it now. Like, I'm seeing the whole impetus for my video this week is how much Evangelion is in Metal Gear Solid, because holy shit.
That is the most George video I've ever heard.
Yeah. I was having a blast just seeing how much of like pop culture visibly changed before and after Evangelion, even outside of anime in Japan. Like, now I know what people are talking about when they say The Matrix is anime inspired, because I always thought there was Ghost in the Shell in there, but there's Evangelion in there too.
Evangelion did a lot. It did a lot. In Japan, it's just so it's like, I don't know. It's like how people would talk about Star Wars in regards to it being untouchable and culturally significant. Everybody in Japan knows, like, a Cruel Angel Thesis, like the opening. Everybody knows, like, at the very least they know the da, because it's just so synonymous with, like, Japan media.
You think that this might be the years when electronic designs kind of went from boxy, bulky things to sleeker, curvier things? Because comparing the design of the Evas to giant Japanese robots from the past marks a distinctive change between boxy, square things and, like, more sleek, diamond-shaped, kind of feminine silhouette things.
Well, they're meant to look human, aren't they?
And maybe that resonated to an extent.
Maybe. They still look cool. Like, Eva 1, for all of its problems, still looks damn cool. I rode on the Eva train once. It was amazing.
I feel like Metal Gear Ray versus Metal Gear Rex evokes that change in mecha design, going from Gundams to Evas. The red on black color scheme is something I'm going to be focusing a lot on. Well, the seal slabs that had the conspirators behind the scenes, like, that's how the visual language MGS2 uses to describe the Patriots. They're red, shadowy silhouettes on top of a black monolithic background.
Yeah, I can see, like, the Patriots being inspired by Seal and stuff like that. I can see that.
And the concept for the Matrix is, I'm sure there was a cyberpunk digital plug your brain into this utopia concept before, but the fact that they have plugs on their bodies,
I feel like that's clutching straws, I think. I feel like there is some elements to it, but yeah, inspiration or maybe some passing thought, but not, like, directly like, oh, this is amazing, let's do this.
What other examples we got? Oh, Xenogears, Xenosaga, the whole giant robots plus religious symbolism. Oh, also, you know how when they go up into space in the movie and, like, runes from this weird Jewish symbolism starts showing up on top of the explosions?
Apparently all of the religious stuff in Evangelion is not meant to be anything. It's just because it looked cool.
Yeah, and I think, like, it looking cool resonated. You know how a lot of Japanese magic in video games will have, like, pentagrams or crosses and stuff appear on top of globs of light? Was that a thing before Eva? Like, what? How many earlier examples?
You had Hellsing and stuff like that.
But yeah, I remember, like, pointing at the screen and being like, oh, that's where that comes from, a lot during that last 10 episode stretch, especially with how it cuts to straight up real life footage. Man, Metal Gear Solid 2
wishes it was as fourth wall breaking as that.
It seems a little less original now at this point, because cutting to real life footage in the middle of your batshit insane video game ending is straight up Evangelion now. Now I know where that's from. So, if unless you got any more examples, we can move on to our final discussion question, which should be the most interesting.
Bring it on.
What is our interpretation of the crazy deconstructionist montages and monologues that happen towards the end of both the series and the movie? I.e., where in the place of the universe does that stuff happening, and why is that stuff happening both in the place of the universe and in real life in the Gainax animation studios? Which I think you did totally touch on how they ran out of a budget, and so the animation got weird for that reason.
Oh yeah, the end of the original series is all because of budget and because Anno was losing his mind.
So how bad was it? How much control did a guy losing his mind have over a very, very big, very important pop culture media project like
but
this?
it wasn't massive at the time. It wasn't like by when they were making those episodes, I'm sure they had no idea. Otherwise, they would have immediately been given funding to make it better.
So this is a real thing. They really did run out of animation money at the end.
Oh my god! Like if you want to know anything about development hells, like Evangelion's a great example of it. Towards the end of Evangelion, like the quality drops off, and they literally say before the start of the 26th episode, which is, it will take too much time to explain all of this, so we are going to focus on Shinji Ikari's mind.
I didn't know how,
they literally say that before the start of the episode.
Yeah, I didn't know how literal I should have taken it as a viewer.
No, it's literal. It's literal.
That's
they
hilarious.
did not have the time or the money.
Oh, that is a tragic comedy.
But that's why they made
End of
Evangelion, because it got popular, and Anna was like, "Well, fuck you guys, I'm going to make this then."
So is it like true in the universe then that all the crazy stuff is happening in some kind of weird alternate reality matrix cyber realm?
Wait. You mean what? You mean the singularity thing?
Yeah. When they're plugged in and we're seeing like childhood doodles of Shinji.
Oh, that's
instead
happening.
Of
that's his soul. That's his person inside of the singular. You can see all of the souls being sucked up. That's just Shinji's. But for some reason, because Shinji is like one with Eva, he gets to decide whether he wants to join that or he doesn't. So he's basically mentally looping and hallucinating all of the reasons why he should or shouldn't do it.
So what about the dad issues? One, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of this is that it turns out in a grand twist that this is all because Jindo Ikari still loves his family and wants them to be in a better reality than the shitty post-apocalyptic future these kids have to grow up in.
No, he wanted to be with his wife again.
Yeah.
His wife's dead, so the only way he could do it was to be... Well, his wife isn't technically dead. Her soul somehow... And they don't ever explain this.
Oh, yeah, it's in the computer.
No. That's other person's mum. Shinji's mum is inside of Eva 1.
What?
Wait, you didn't know that?
No.
Shinji's mum is Eva 1. Her soul is in Eva 1.
This changes everything.
Yeah, so Gendo wanted all of the souls to be mixed. He was going along with Seal's plan and pretending to basically be like, yes, of course, let's do this.
Shit.
Because he knew if they did it, he would be able to reunite with Yui, his wife, because she was in Eva 1. But he had a plan to somehow reverse it afterwards, but they don't really explain that either.
So that means that when Shinji gets absorbed into his Eva and then spat out naked, it's a kind of rebirthing scenario?
No, not that literal, because it's basically just foreshadowing the singularity humanist, whatever it's called, project. No, basically like when they try and get Rei or Adami or Asuka to fight in Eva 2 and it just won't in Eva 1 and it just won't even power on. That's because it's rejecting everybody but Shinji. Eva 1 is his mother. All of the Evas have a soul. That's how they function. That's how they go berserk. And Eva 1's soul is his mother.
I have another question. The giant like Stay Puft Marshmallow angel that they have locked up in the basement, they call that Adam, but is that Lilith?
No, that's not Adam. That's Lilith. Adam is the tiny embryo like thing that Gendo combines with his hand at the end.
Huh.
And then
that's something that I definitely had wrong then, because I thought that the big white one with the spear of Longinus was Adam that whole time, but that's Lilith.
No, that's Lilith, because Kaoru goes down there and he's like, I get to see Adam, and then he steps in front of it and he's like, oh, you're not Adam, you're Lilith. You're the creator of Lilin, and Lilin is humans.
I was wondering about that, because it gets all swollen and pregnant in the movie, but in the series it's more masculine looking.
No, it's the Lilith. It's the second one.
Okay. So Eva's even weirder than I thought.
Also, Rei is a clone of Shinji's mother, right?
Yeah. That was a little that was a little easier to pick up with than Eva 01 being Shinji's mom. Well, that really does change everything.
And basically, the series is just showing that the way Shinji would have turned out is he would have turned out like Gendo. He would have just turned out like his dad. That's basically what the series is a reflection of.
Is that what we're seeing in the alternate reality, where Shinji has like a more normal school life, but also more like macho, confident, masculine attitude to himself in that alternate reality we're picturing?
Standoffish, like cutting everybody out, but like one person. Him pretending like everything's okay when really it's not, like kind of attitude, and him being selfish and stuff was basically just like his dad.
That's so it all loops around too to dad issues. And I think that's one thing that I actually really, really appreciated about it, is that despite the filler episodes in the beginning, it sticks to that theme really solidly. Like the first episode's full of dad issues all the way into the end.
Well, it's anxiety that stems from being rejected by his dad. So he is afraid to let anybody be close to him. That's why it's called the AT field or whatever it is. Like
and he has those conversations with himself about all of that.
All of that, right? Yeah. But then because of his dad, because of his anxiety about his dad, he questions every relationship he has with people in the world. And to be fair, he has like a good reason to. Rei doesn't say anything to him. Asuka tells him constantly she hates him. And Katsuragi is really nice to him. But then she's like, fucking get in the robot, Shinji. Do your fucking shit, man. Stop wasting our time. So, understandably, this poor boy, even though he is a bit of a whiny bitch, like...
Jeez, you're not wrong, but...
He is. Shinji is like the memes are about Shinji being a bitch.
Speaking of memes... Is it just me, or is the ending unintentionally hilarious now? Where the screen cracks and everyone is congratulating him.
Yeah, the end of the series when that happens is still funny to me now because of the
internet has made it worse.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
for sure.
We're absolutely. I loved it.
It is worth watching. But I wouldn't say it is necessarily good. It's very different.
I appreciated it both for what was there. I loved how crazy it started deconstructing itself to be able to tackle these really, really intimate, scary psychological themes, and also how like educational it was in terms of seeing how pop culture changed before and after, especially Japanese pop culture. For
it is
Evangelion.
One of those, though, that you have to do a lot of side reading to ever get a grasp. Like, George missed one of the most key points of the whole series, which is that Evil One is Shinji's mother, essentially. But that is a example of how Evangelion doesn't explain very much.
But that also shows why people will rewatch this again and again for years.
Oh yeah.
And with that said, we're about to hit 2 hours on the podcast.
Yeah, and I want to go to bed. I've got some joining the singularity of my bed to do.
So congratulations!
Yeah, you finished Evangelion. You finished one anime, George.
Congratulations
to yourself. I hope you are arguing in your own mind about watching more anime. Shinji is a bitch.